Hey guys, Work here. Welcome back to the bench. Today we're going to be doing a review of an optics plate for a CZ P10 Optics Ready model. This particular optics plate is from 401 Manufacturing. Now, this company is not a company that you can really get these through their website. You go on eBay to find these things. Type in 401 Manufacturing and then CZ Optics Plate. And you'll find these things. They come in two different colors. They come in black anodized and red anodized. And yes, you heard that right. Anodized. These are made of aluminum instead of steel like some of the other ones. So a couple of kind of nifty parts about this particular plate. It does have the locking lugs in the bottom side to be able to fully lock the plate into the slide, just like a lot of the other higher end ones. It is made of aluminum, which is a little bit unique. As I said, a lot of them are made of steel. And one thing that I really like about this is they have included a small little riser bit here in between the optic and your slide to make this not quite as big of a valley in here. These are an RMR cut, so they're going to run RMRs, SROs. They'll run your Holosun optics. This particular one is a 507C. And this thing has been a tank. I've run this through a class and one match now, and it's actually been dropped off my bench as well. I accidentally, my slide just kind of went for a trip, fell right off the bench, down onto the floor, hit right on the optic, and this thing did not lose zero. Everything works fine, and as you would expect. So what we're going to do is, while I'm going over this, we're going to pull this off of here, and we're going to take a look at the plate itself, how it's done. We're going to see if any of the holes have wallered out, because that's really going to be the big sign on how well these plates hold up over time, is how well those holes hold up. The way that CZ actually beds their optics plates is really nice. Sorry, I got a little bit of scruffy voice today. There we go. They bed their plates with a couple of different, you could call them bosses, basically. So it's just the little sections of the slide that are milled out, and how that ends up lining up to the optics plate itself. And that's going to give the optics plate a little bit more strength when it comes to movement, whether it's forward, backwards, or lateral movement. And the 401 manufacturing plate lined up to those perfectly. It really did. These guys really did a really good job at making sure that this whole thing lined up well, and that the optic was on there very, very sturdy, and it wasn't going to move. The plate wasn't going to move. It it slipped down into the groove onto the firearm really nicely, really tight. It's not like overly tight where you need a hammer or something to get it on there, but it's also not loose at all. Like, you will see it here in just a second. If I can get these Holosun screws out, these guys are pretty solid in here. I did use blue Loctite, as I always do on my optics, because last thing I want is my optic just popping right off of there. But that does also make it a little bit difficult sometimes to get your screws out. There's one. Okay, and here, pulling the second screw out. Let's not let my dot fall on the floor. Alright, so both the screws are out. Let's take a look at the plate itself. And the top of the plate looks absolutely perfect and spotless. There's no marking, no grooving, no anything on there you can see. Sorry, there we go. Got it focused a little bit. No wallering of those top holes. Let's go ahead and pop off these bottom ones and see if there's any noticeable marks on the bottom holes. I do have to find a new tool for the bottom holes. The tool that I was just using is not going to work, which means this could just a second. Found it. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull the mounting screws for the plate itself off. Now, the plate does come with these mounting screws. I believe I actually do have an installation video for this plate, so you can find a lot of the information on there as far as what it comes with. There we go. So that guy got stuck on there pretty good. this one off. Alright. So there, our screws are off, and now let's go ahead and pull our plate. And looking at the plate, we also don't have any wallering of the holes on the plate. These back holes right by my middle finger here are the mounting holes down into the slide. So you can see, if I hold it a little bit, there you go, you can actually see the milling that was done on the plate to line it up with the bottom of the P10. As I said, the P10 has this really nice pattern on the slide there to be able to really lock in the plates. And it does a heck of a job. It keeps a lot of the lateral movement from the plate in, it keeps a lot of that movement between the two components unified. So the motion from the slide going back and forth, holding that heavy optic on top, doesn't get translated over into the screws. It actually goes straight into the plate. So that's why it's important to look at those holes for wallering to make sure that we haven't wallered. And what I mean by wallering is elongation of those holes. So if those holes have been elongated, then the transfer of energy from the slide reciprocation into the optic has taken place through the fastener and not through the plate itself. And most of you maybe not know, fasteners are not meant to work in shear force. They are meant to work in clamp load. And what that means is it pulls this to the slide hard enough that the shear friction between the two surfaces is what actually causes the connection. And what those lugs internal to the slide do is that makes sure that that connection does not transfer over into the fasteners. So I'm really glad that they took advantage of that. I'm not sure that you could make a P10 plate that doesn't take advantage of that, but it is nice to see that they are taking advantage of that. Now, this does also have pillars for the optic itself. Again, if I could get this thing to focus on my hand. Hey, there we go. You can see there that it does have pillars for the optic itself. And here is that riser section that I was talking about that ends up just taking up a little bit of that space in front of the optic, making it not look quite as awkward. The CZ custom plates do not have that. It's just a single plate all the way across with the... they do still have the pillars, but it doesn't have that section up front, and it just makes a really deep groove up there that kind of comes across as weird. So, overall... despite being an aluminum instead of a steel plate, I see no detriment to this being aluminum. Quite the contrary, actually. It does reduce your cost and price. I will throw a link in the description to these, but that link may not stay live long. I'm not sure how the eBay auctions do. I may throw up a link also to their website. It's like to their page, to their store inside eBay. But here's the cool part about these things. So I've talked about these. It's done a really good job. It's never lost zero. The coolest part is this plate comes in at $36, $36.75, and free shipping. So for under $40 shipped, which is less than you can get them for anywhere else, you're getting a solid optics plate option for a CZ P10. The optics plates really right now are the biggest detriment to that platform. If CZ could get that figured out and get those sent out in higher volumes, it'd be great, and it would be a real contender. But right now we're having to rely on the aftermarket for that, and the aftermarket's got quite a few players, and one of those players is 401 Manufacturing, and I really think you guys should give them a look. If you are looking for an RMR plate for your P10F, you're not wanting to blow a bunch of money, you don't need to blow a bunch of money on them. 401 Manufacturing can get you a plate that is going to do everything that you need it to do for under $40 shipped, and it's going to work perfect. So, with that being said, check them out. Head over to 401 Manufacturing. Tell them Work sent you. Remember, guys, I appreciate every one of you, and until next time, do your research, get informed, and get to work.